car, boat. You're not gonna do what I think you're gonna do.
As you know, the Fast and Furious movies are known for their gritty realism and down-to-earth psych! Of course they're not. Fast and Furious are known for their crazy and epic over-the-top stunts that simply defy the laws of gravity and what both a car and a person can do. In this video, we are going to take a look at 10 of the most insane stunts from the Fast and Furious movies and rank them on a scale from super easy, barely an inconvenience, to what the hell are you doing? That's damn near impossible. Let's go. Before we get into the top 10, let's just go through some honorable mentions, shall we? Stunts that didn't quite make the cut are the chase scene at the end of the original Fast and Furious, across the train tracks, back when the series was about street racing, the bridge jump in Too Fast, Too Furious, the circular drifting, the mountain race, and the Hachiko Square scene in Tokyo Drift, because, well, Tokyo Drift needs some more love, you dig? And the Hobbs and Shaw helicopter sequence, which would have made the top 10, but we decided not to count it as it's not part of the main Fast and Furious series. So let's start off with the moment Brian runs up a bus as it drives off a cliff and plummets to the ground below in Fast and Furious 7. Now, I was originally going to put this one higher up the list, but after looking around, it turns out that this stunt is actually pretty possible. In an interview with Insider, physicist Deandra Leslie Pilecki said that despite the fact that he's pushing off an object moving in an opposite direction, as long as you can run faster than the bus is falling, it is actually possible and a good example of Newton's law of motion. In fact, a person even managed to pull it off for real with Walker's stunt double running up the bus, which did actually fall off the side of a cliff, although admittedly he was wired up for, health and safety reasons. Either way, it's pretty darn impressive. Next on this list is the moment that Brian and Roman catch a yacht, but in typical Fast and Furious fashion, it isn't as simple as just walking onto the boat, and of course, it involves a car defying the laws of gravity. As the movie reaches its climax and Brian chases the movie's villain, Carter Verone, Brian speeds toward a cliff, hits a conveniently placed ramp perfectly, and hurtles in the air towards the yacht. In real life, the scene was somewhat piecemealed together, filming different scenes and editing them cohesively. Firstly, driving a car off a ramp into the ocean, then secondly, using wires to suspend another car in the air before sending it through the yacht, without, of course, any of the actors. Seeing as Brian and Roman didn't have access to wires, it's likely they'd be unable to pull off this stunt in real life. This stunt is important in terms of Fast and Furious history, however, as it was the first time the series really upped the stakes and set the bar for the stunts to follow. Next on the list is the moment in Fast and Furious 6 where Dom inexplicably manages to drive through the nose of a burning plane. As the plane jetties on a seemingly never-ending runway, the plane begins to explode and become engulfed in flames, with Dom inside. Although, while all seemed lost for Dom, he somehow managed to drive his car through the entirety of the plane, including the cockpit apparently, smashing through the front of the vehicle and escaping the burning ball of fire. He didn't quite stick the landing, however, as he crashes his car almost instantly, showcasing that he is human after all. Sort of. You have to say that the likelihood of this sequence is pretty slim, but it's still not the craziest stunt on this list. Now, this next one should probably have been a little higher, as it's another one that would be extremely difficult to pull off in real life, and that is the train sequence in Fast 5. Like the plane in the previous entry, the train also sets on fire, and with an upcoming bridge, Brian finds himself trapped with limited ways to escape. Thankfully for him, his best bud Dom is there to save the day, with him speeding his car alongside the train so Brian can jump into it with relative ease. But they're not out of the woods just yet, as Dom drives the car into a canyon, only for the two of them to defy the laws of gravity and jump out of the car as they fall to the water below. Now, in real life, seeing as they're falling at a speed of roughly over 120 miles an hour, at best, Dom and Brian would have broken some bones on impact and, at worst, died horribly. And although their stuntmen did in fact pull the scene off, they did so with the help of wires. While elements of the Fast and Furious 4 oil tanker scene were actually done for real, such as Michelle Rodriguez and her stunt double being strapped to the oil tanker, as well as the moment they are cut loose, which was pulled off by having drivers secretly operating them inside the different sections, there is one moment that was fully CGI and basically impossible to pull off in real life. That part is where Dom drives towards the exploding oil tanker and somehow manages to drift underneath it. Which, I mean, yeah, look at that CGI. That is, oof, that is, the series gets better in the computer graphics department, trust me. Yeah, I'm gonna say that one, pretty near impossible. Next up is the nuclear submarine battle in Fate of the Furious, which has so much going on at once. But of course, the moment Dom speeds toward the submarine as a missile chases after him, jumps through the air, hitting it slightly, causing the missile to blow up the submarine, with Dom managing to escape the fireball, is the biggest part of the sequence and seemingly pretty unlikely. Although, according to Deandra Leslie Pilecki again, it is still possible. Moving on to the moment in Fast and Furious 6, where Dom saves Letty during the tank chase sequence by climbing onto the hood of his car, smashing the car into the guardrail of the bridge, and hurtling toward Letty and catching her in mid-air before landing onto the hood of another car without any major injuries. Yeah, let's be honest here. There is no way this could happen in real life, and actually probably should have been number one on this list. It's crazy, defies the laws of physics, and is basically impossible, bordering on beyond basically just literally impossible. But boy, did it look cool. This next one is another contender for the number one spot, and there will likely be people watching who think it should be there. But while it is difficult, there is a chance it could happen. We are, of course, talking about the vault scene in Fast 5. Somehow they managed to pull a 5-ton vault filled with $100 million and swing it around like a wrecking ball through the streets of Rio while evading an army of cops, and let's face it, it's another that would be almost impossible to pull off. In real life, 7 vaults were used to shoot the scene, with 2 of the vaults motorized and driven by stunt drivers. Number 2 on the list is one that we're pretty confident with because we know for a fact how difficult it was to complete in real life. The scene in question is when the Fast Gang drops a number of cars from a C-130 and parachutes them to the ground. While CGI was used to put the actors in the car, the stunt was performed for real, with real cars dropped multiple times from the plane, with parachutist cameramen and camera-equipped helicopters used to record them. The scene took over 2 months to shoot, and apparently multiple cars actually made it out alive, although there were a few that didn't. Taking all this into account, we have to say this stunt was pretty darn difficult. And finally, the number 1 spot goes to the building to building to building scene in Furious 7. Dom and Brian drive the Lycan hypercar from one Dubai skyscraper to the next while outrunning Jason Statham's rocket launcher, and instead of tumbling to their inevitable death, they somehow manage to not only get up to speed to smash through the window and not immediately fall, but make it to the other building and smash through that window too. While the likelihood of this stunt happening in real life is very low, to be fair, the crew really did construct 3 40-foot glass and steel buildings inside a soundstage and drive a car through them all. So, fair play to them. Is it the most difficult? We at least think so. Plus, it looked just awesome. Although, as someone who's already seen F9 in theaters, oh boy, none of these have anything on, like, that entire movie. Oh boy. And a quick final honorable mention, the stunt where Dom flies through the air and headbutts a dude like a dolphin is also a pretty incredible and difficult stunt to pull off, and to be honest, we just wanted to watch it again one more time.